Let's start with this vaccination bun fight. A state government official has told me they believe that the way the federal government is looking to roll out this vaccine, it could take years to roll it out to every single Australian. The federal government has a target, as we know, of everyone getting a first dose of vaccine by October. Gladys Berejkilian, the New South Wales Premier, casting doubt on that target this morning and also revealing she had written to the Commonwealth to offer New South Wales help in delivering more than the 300,000 they are set to deliver into arms, a third of which New South Wales has done.
Once we finish our 300,000 that we've been allocated, we're saying we've got 100 hubs across the state. We've got clinicians, we've got nurses to complement and support the GP network to make sure there's a hope in reaching the October deadline. Because if the state government doesn't step up and help the Commonwealth, we will not reach the October deadline. I can tell you now, it just doesn't stack up. The Commonwealth has responsibility for the entire vaccine rollout, except for the 300,000 the New South Wales government's been asked to do. So we have 6 million citizens that need to get the rollout. We've not yet had the green light to do anything beyond the 300,000 that we've been asked to do.
Putting pressure on the PM, the New South Wales Premier, isn't she? Scott Morrison understood to be not that happy with Greg Hunt, his health minister, for giving the Daily Telegraph the figures which claimed the states had only administered 50% of their doses supplied yesterday, causing New South Wales and Queensland to launch into the feds, with New South Wales saying they had administered double what the feds had in New South Wales. Anthony Albanese was up on this morning, saying Scott Morrison needed to take responsibility for a slow rollout.
Attempt. It was Scott Morrison who said that he wasn't going to make promises that couldn't be kept. But it's Scott Morrison who's always big on promises, always big on announcements, and never there for the follow-up and the delivery. So Scott Morrison has to accept the responsibility for the failings that are there in the system and for the consequences of those failings.
I also can reveal some of this text message exchange between New South Wales Health Minister Brad Hazzard and Mr Hunt after that story appeared on the state's vaccine rollout, with Hazzard telling Hunt he was risking public confidence in the vaccine process. It's like Greg Hunt threw the grenade over the trench and David Littleproud followed him over against the states on the Today Show yesterday, and Scott Morrison just pulled them back into the trench. The federal government says thousands more GPs will soon be contacting patients to invite them in for vaccinations. But do we need more than this? Pop-up clinics run by the states, like the testing clinics, perhaps? Well, Stephen Miles, he was getting into David Littleproud again today, calling him an April Fool.
What you saw yesterday, I think, was a very cynical attempt from David Littleproud to use the number of vaccines delivered to states and territories to try to get Andrew Laming out of the news cycle. And I think while that might have worked, we can all agree that David Littleproud is 2021's April Fool. But he should not have risked confidence in the vaccine for the Morrison government's political benefits.
Queensland's Deputy Premier and former Health Minister there, David Littleproud, has returned serve in a statement. He says, I won't be lectured to by a man who was sacked as Health Minister and a government that was derelict in their duty of protecting their frontline health workers by not having them fully vaccinated before they treated COVID patients. David Littleproud says his statements today also show why he and his government are incompetent. My statements pertain to assisting the Queensland government roll out the vaccines they've left in the rack rather than in health workers' arms. So how about that, Kieran?